Good evening. This is Kilo Charlie 9er Uniform Delta X-Ray. My name is Matt and I welcome you to the 2 a.m. net. The purpose of this net is to promote the use of amplitude modulation and also to establish this part of this band as a place for AM activity in this area. Everyone is invited to listen. Licensed amateurs who can do so legally are encouraged to check in. We listen in the AM mode and transmit in the AM mode where possible. If you cannot transmit in AM, we encourage you to listen in AM and transmit in FM. If you are transmitting in FM, please adjust your transmit frequency a couple kCs above or below from our receive frequency. This facilitates the use of slope detection, that is, demodulating your FM signal with our AM receivers. When checking in, please announce your call sign in standard phonetics. Again, this is KC9UDX. My name is Matt, and I will now begin accepting check-ins. Any stations wishing to check in, please come now.
Good evening, Matt. W9JCC.
Got one so far. Welcome, Frank, our most loyal check-in. Recognizing W9JCC, do we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please.
Whiskey Bravo 9. Bravo Whiskey Papa.
And there's Dave, our probably second most loyal check-in. Recognizing WB9BWP, do we have anybody else? Alright, hearing none, start out by saying, excuse me. We got a little bit extra QRM this month. Not sure what that's all about. Maybe a neighbor has got some kind of new switching power supply for lighting or something. I have no idea. Of course, it could be a little more distant. Who knows? Anybody's guess these days. We have about a 6-second delay on YouTube, which is pretty decent, I think. We have no KD9WFA this month. She's busy with homework and other things around here, so maybe next month. And other than that, I guess I have been successfully attending club meetings this year. I've gone to 2 MRAC meetings, 1 MAC meeting, and I've been getting a lot of piano practice in, which is something I haven't done in a long time. And with that, we'll go to the top of the list. Frank, W9JCC. Oh, and also, of course, it's Pi Day. Happy Pi Day. And we're all here, so we know we have a new time zone. So, Frank, go ahead and take it away from KC9UDX.
Okay, KC9UDX, W9JCC, and good evening also to Dave. Everybody's coming in good. And, yeah, I was reminded, I didn't even know it was Pi Day today, so I went to the bank and the teller mentioned it. And that was my first notice of it. And then I saw something on TV, they're also selling a lot of actual pies that you can eat, so kind of interesting. And I don't notice any QRM over here. I guess it sounds about the same as last week on this radio. And not a whole lot to report. We haven't been doing too much HF except a little on 10 meters maybe, and a couple of days ago I made some contacts there, but that was about it. And so I think I don't have a whole lot to input this time, so I'll turn it back to Matt, W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. Excuse me. I don't know when Pi Day became a phenomenon, but I guess it's been going on for quite some time. I think I noticed it right away this morning. I didn't really think about it yesterday or anything. I guess it would have been a more significant thing in 2015 maybe, but I don't remember anybody making a big deal out of it then. I don't know. You know, it occurs to me, now that I'm down here in the shack, I'll have to remember before I head upstairs, I've got to grab a couple of ferrite beads to put on the power cord for the dash cam in my vehicle. That's something I've been meaning to do for a long time. That thing puts out a ton of noise. And then, with that, we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. Good evening, Matt and Frank. And maybe we'll pick up some more as time progresses here. Yeah, play day. I guess anything that might help or make the general public be a little more technical, maybe, or scientific or something, can't hurt. You know, I'm sure most people really don't understand it. Radio-wise, Wisconsin QSO Party was Sunday, so I played in that. Did 40 counties out of the 72, and just over 100 contacts. I forget what it was, 105 or somewhere in there. And myself and a number of others that we have talked both on Mosey Net last night and after the contest was over, we're a station from the Slovak Republic that actually was doing the QSO party. He was looking for a Wisconsin station. He had a really strong signal. Now, whether he was really at home, who knows? But I thought that was interesting. You don't expect that kind of DX working a state QSO party, especially a state in the middle of the country here. Other than that, well, it's been a lot of contests. A couple of weeks ago was, what was it, ARLBX contest, CQ160, and the FM Simplest contest, and the North American QSO Party is really, I did all three of those in one weekend. Didn't do really well, I guess, in any of them, but still. And then there was the DX contest, it was like 2 weeks ago. And next week, not this weekend, next weekend is WPX, CQWPX contest. This Saturday is another club meeting. Show and tell is the topic. And then next Saturday is the Club Ham Fest. Sunday is Jefferson. Saturday is MRIC Ham Fest. No comment on the scheduling there. I wasn't involved in any of that, so that way I can pass the buck. And I guess with that we'll... Oh, and that was my timer. And so anyway, that's a good indication of... should stop talking anyway. Send it back to Necklaces, WB9BWP.
Alright, thank you, Dave. Unfortunately, I missed the Wisconsin QSO party again. I didn't really have a good chance of participating with my antenna being in pieces, but I also did have to work. I worked through the FM Simplex contest too, unfortunately. I got home in the second half of the 220 segment, and both my daughter and I tried contacting anybody we could on 220, and there was absolutely nobody responding. I don't know what the issue was there. I know our radios do work. I don't know for sure that my antenna is up to snuff, but I think it is. I was kind of surprised we couldn't get anybody at all. And I actually plan on bringing the 2 a.m. setup to the MRAC meeting to show off on Saturday. I probably won't have a power supply and antenna, but I'll bring the radio and maybe the microphone just to show it off. I don't know how many people are familiar with seeing these older radios like this anymore, so it'll be a chance for some of those guys to at least lay their eyes on it. And do plan on going to the Swap Fest. Don't think I'll end up in Jefferson. I'll probably end up working. Although we'll see. I think we have other plans that weekend anyway, but I'm not sure. And we're at the bottom of the list. Do we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net? Come now, please. Hearing none. I noticed that my automatic noise limiter takes out all that QRM, which is interesting. I don't remember that ever working that well in the past. We will go back to the top of the list. Frank, W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, KC9UDX, W9JCC. Very good, Matt and Dave. And as far as club meetings go, the Westside Radio Club has one, the day after tomorrow. It's this Thursday anyway, over at Spring City, a restaurant on I-94 and Grandview Boulevard. So I plan on going to that one, and that's the only one I go to. It's close to my house, so I don't have to drive too far. I can get there in about 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And as far as the Wisconsin QSO party, I did not make any contacts there. Things are falling on Sunday, and that worked out too good for me because that turns out to be our work day. We started making that our work day when we started looking after two of my daughters' boys shortly after they got born. And we're watching over them until, they were in middle school or a little further. And so my routine is usually get up, make breakfast, you can get on the air, and I'm 20 minutes talk to my friend in Florida, and then start getting the laundry into the wash machine, and then doing the vacuuming and so forth. Usually I'm not done work until about mid-afternoon. Now we got the Swap Fest out of Jefferson. That's also on a Sunday, so I don't know. I've gone to that. But the Sunday time frame is not too good for me. But we'll see how I feel, if I feel energetic enough to get out there. It's a nice little drive. When I go, I usually take, I think it's, is it 18? I forget what the name of the road is. It's the one that is the back road. I'll trip out there. And probably Madison Street. And that's usually a nice little drive if the weather's nice. Anyway, back to that on the JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. I do like going to that Jefferson Swap Fest. I don't think I'll be able to make it this year. That's probably 4 years now I haven't made it. We've got Gary W9TOF on YouTube. I'm going to try and call him here. He's trying to call with an FM radio, and I'll see if I can tune him in. W9TOF from KC9UDX.
W9TOF. I don't know if you can tune me in or not. I can hear you, and I can hear Frank. Although Frank's peaks on his modulation will distort in my FM receive, but I can hear you. You know what I need, Matt? I need a real dial AM 2-meter radio. That's a Nectar control if you can hear me, W9TOF.
Roger, Gary, I hear you very well here. I didn't have to tune you in at all, so I must have been just bad timing before when you called. I probably talked right over the top of you. Your signal and everything is working very well. I'm surprised you can hear us at all in FM. That doesn't usually work. But yeah, it'll be really nice when you got an AM radio. It'll be a lot better audio. I've got the big speaker going here tonight, so I'll add you to the list, and I'll put you after Dave. So next time around, I'll call you after WB9BWP, and with that, I will turn it over to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. I don't know if I got anything more to say after last round. Other than talking about the noise, the band did sound a little noisier here when I turned the radio on. Yeah, maybe that's calmed down a little bit. But signal-wise, everybody's doing fine. I can copy just as always, probably. I didn't take a close look at the meter. And I guess one other selling point for the MRAC Hamfest is the plan, at least so far. I don't know exactly what time they plan on doing it, but from the parking lot of the Elks Club, MSOE will be launching a balloon. Their second. They did one, when was that? A year and a half ago, maybe. Not a high altitude balloon. It's one that go to about 30,000 feet and try to go around the world. The last time it made it to Turkey, that was the last time they got any reports from it. But they're going to be trying another one next Saturday at the Hamfest. But like I said, I don't know exactly what time they're shooting for. That's the only way to get people to stay there all day, or all morning at least. Anyway, I'll just send it back to that because that's the only stuff that popped into my head there. So this is WB9BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. The QRM is definitely still there for me. It comes and goes, though. I mean, not tonight, but in general. And thank you for bringing up the balloon. That will be very interesting to see that, if I'm there when they do it. And with that, excuse me, we are at the bottom of the list. Let's see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
This is Phyllis Sierra, Niner, Quebec Mobile.
Yeah, I'm always at the bottom of the list. N9CXK. Hi, man.
Well, Carol, if you had been a little bit quicker, you wouldn't have been the bottom of the list. Recognizing Jim, KS9Q Mobile, and Carol, N9CXK. We'll go to Jim, being he's mobile, KS9Q from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the net, this is KS9Q. Well, I am currently over by the old Waukesha engine, and probably not in an ideal spot right now, but I am heading south, and I should be more out in the open in just a little bit. I'm running the Icon 705 off the battery, so I might be getting a 1.5 watt or so carrier, and I got to pull over for a law enforcement officer to get by here. So I'll throw this back to net, and we'll be listening. This is KS9Q.
All right, thank you, Jim. I think you're signing out, but I'll call you next time around just in case. Very copyable here. Probably Frank can hear you, but probably nobody else. And I think you said the old Waukesha engine. I think that's still Waukesha engine. You know, it's owned by a different company now. It's not. Oh, I forget who used to own it, and then GE owned it, and now some other company owns it. But I think it's still Waukesha engine. And as far as I understand, they moved all production out of there, and then they moved at least a large portion of it back. So different people working there, but doing the same thing they always did, I guess. And next we'll go to Carol, N9CXK from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the rest of you, N9CXK. I did hear Jim in there, so that's why I waited for him. I don't know, I went to FM, but he doesn't seem to be on FM. He must be on AM. But it's kind of hard to hear either way. And I realize I'm late. I'm never good at getting right to the net on time, but things are sounding good here. I'm not sure if there's atmospheric interference or not. I haven't been listening long enough. I did hear some little crashes and things in there earlier, but not sure about that. And I have been hanging out on 10 meters a lot. Had a really nice time over the weekend talking on 10 meters AM with a bunch of guys. No screaming, no shouting. Nice conversations where I actually learned stuff and talked to people normally, so that was kind of nice. I think I'm going to be hanging out on 10 AM a lot. I don't have any vintage radios for that, but the radios I have are 20, 30 years old, I guess. And I have been collecting all kinds of bits and pieces of radio stuff. And so now I just got a couple of nice Turner amplified microphones. I wanted one for my 2-meter sideband radio to keep the audio level up a little higher and get a little more punch out of the radio. A couple of people told me I just wasn't keeping my amplifier keyed. So that one I wired up and there's no audio, so I did something wrong. The other one I wired up to a 10-meter radio, and that works like a charm. Boy, there's all kinds of audio now, and the power output is, in some cases, it looks like it's almost doubled. So I think that's going to work. This other one's very fancy, and it has a meter in it, and it shows audio, but the audio's not getting to the microphone circuit in the radio, so I probably mixed up a wire here or there. So I can fix that. It's nice that all these ham radios have relay switching in them, and that's real easy to wire them. So that's good. Yeah, I've been picking up SWR meters, little antenna tuners, microphones, things like that. So that's kind of exciting. I was really hoping I got a Heil Heritage microphone. It's kind of like an Elvis microphone, all big heavy chrome head on it. But I didn't get my interconnecting cable yet with the XLR connector on it and then the Yaesu plug. So I thought that would sound really nice here on AM, but we'll have to wait till next time. So other than that, out in front of me here, the lake is about a third open. On my little lake here, it's about a third open. So I can kayak up and down my shoreline now all the way, I don't know, whatever it is, half-mile around there. So I might be doing that one of these days. And the birds are starting to return here. The cranes and some of the geese that aren't here all year long, they're back. Bald eagle swept down and landed out on the ice the other day, so I watched him with binoculars for a while. And I saw a robin in the tree just a couple days ago while I was walking the dog, so things are looking pretty good for spring. And that's it for now. I'm sure everybody's tired of listening to me already. N9CXK, over.
All right, thank you, Carol. And I think the weather people would disagree with spring, but I don't pay attention to the weather people. It seems to be getting colder again. Of course, it'll warm up eventually. I've had some pretty close calls with a lot of deer. There are a lot of deer out there. And I was going to say, I got a couple of those Turner amplified microphones here somewhere. And I got a couple other brand ones that I don't remember what they are, but I have 2 Turners, I think. One of them has a dead amplifier in it. It's got a little integrated circuit in there that doesn't work. And it's something that's totally obsolete, if I remember. And I tried to use those microphones with very poor success with all of these radios here while I was waiting to get my hands on one of these astatic carbon disc microphones. This microphone, this astatic D104, works wonders on all of the radios that I have, because that's what they're really intended to be used with. And it occurs to me lately I've got to get another one. I had multiples of these in the past, and I sold all the other ones I had. But I guess I'll be looking for one at the upcoming Swap Fest. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 radios that all rely on this microphone, and it wouldn't really be a problem, but there are 2 licensed amateurs in the house now, and I guess another microphone will come in very handy. We are again at the bottom of the list. Let's see if we have any more check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please. Hearing none, we'll go back to the the top of the list. Frank, it's your turn again. W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, KC9UDX, W9JCC, and good evening to the latest check-in there, Gary, Jim, and Carol. And Gary, when you came in, I had absolutely no trouble hearing you, and the audio was just fine. I've got 145.700 here on memory, so I could not shift the frequency, and I didn't have to. Strong enough, and the audio was just super. And I wonder if they'll shoot that balloon down. I think he said it would go up to about 30,000 feet. Somebody might. I don't know how big it is, but it's probably not too huge, I would expect. And Carol, I'm glad you mentioned the 10 meters REM, because many years ago I used to work 10 meter AM a lot with my vintage gear, and lately I've been working some 10 meters on sideband, but I didn't take them out there and check the 10 meter section, and I'm guessing it's still around 29.0 to 29.1, somewhere in that range, but you might confirm that if that's still the AM window there. And I got a Johnson Ranger and a 75A4, that's what I use on AM if I'm not on 2 meters here. And today was a nice cold day. I went for a walk today, and it's a little cold, but nice. When the sun is out, it's great. If it would have been overcast and damp, it would not have been a very good day at all. And man, I've got 2 D104s. I use one of them for the Heathcliff SB series I have upstairs in the patio, and I use the other one down here in the shack for the Johnson Ranger, and that's one of my favorite mics. It really works really well on some of the old gear. So anyway, not too much more on this go around. I'll turn it back to Matt. This is W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. And I forgot to mention, I do have 10 meter AM capability. I have worked 10 meter AM and FM and sideband. I only have one 10 meter capable radio that will not do AM. All the rest of them will. I did scan around the day that my daughter put her antenna up, she was making contacts on sideband, but I did a little scanning. I did not hear anybody on AM or FM, which was kind of surprising. Usually at least back when I used to do a lot of 10 meter stuff, I'd hear FM quite a bit. And with that, we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. I don't know that I've done any 10 meter AM. No particular reason. I don't know that I've done any. You know, that has been picking up definitely this year. The contests that I've done, I've actually spent most of like Sunday on 10, well into the afternoon, whereas before, it was dead by 10 in the morning. I know Nick K9TNN has a big 10 meter AM guy. I spent a few years working with him back as we were at Eden, just passing the time. Anyway, I'm listening on three things right now. Guernsey is on 40 meters. He's got a bit of a pileup. I can't hear him though. And also I'm listening kind of to a rookie net that we have going on. That's every Tuesday. Luckily, we've gotten enough new people to run it, so now I don't have to do anything special with it, which is always good. And it's good that we're getting the new folks to step up and see that it's not that hard to do these kind of things. And I guess still, I don't have anything else profound to add here. Microphone-wise, well, right now on this radio, I'm just using that stock hand mic because I need to come up with a switch to switch the dual microphone between radios here, because I only have one adapter made. But of course it's been on the list for almost a year now, and it has moved up the list. It's gotten some things out of the way. But if I stop shuffling stuff around here, maybe I can get that built. Anyhow, we'll send it back to that. This is WB9BWP.
Thank you, Dave. I converted all of my radios here to use the 3/16 phone jack and plug. This plug is on the microphone, of course. The Drakes that I have all came with that. One of, or two of them actually, somebody had modified for a 1/4-inch plug, and I had to revert those to 3/16. This GON set had a hardwired microphone, and I installed I did not have the microphone. It came with a pigtail sticking out of it. I had to install the 3/16 jack on this, but it would have been appropriate. That was one of the ways you could buy this thing. My KW came with a European, obviously, DIN plug. Looks like a PC keyboard jack. And I was not about to try and adapt to that, so I put a washer behind the 3/16 jack and stuck that on the panel. It looks really ugly because the mounting screw holes for the DIN plug are still there. I may have to get a fender washer to cover them up or something. And I actually made a remote jack for the Drake because the connector is on the side, and I need a right angle plug because I have the RV3 remote VFO right next to the TR3, and there's no way to plug in or unplug the microphone. So I took a right angle plug I made an extension and I put a 3/16 jack on my shelf here so that I can plug the microphone into that without having to mess around. And I guess I probably keep going on and on if I don't turn it over to Gary, W9TOF from KC9UDX.
W9TOF, I don't know who else can hear me, Matt. I think I'm going to just say 7.3s after this transmission. I can hear Carol pretty well. Frank, I can hear. Dave just comes in with a little bit of distortion and not much audio beyond that. You, I can hear very clearly, except I have to turn my volume all the way up. So bottom line is I need an AM transceiver is what I really need. And I wish I could make the swap meet in Jefferson. I've got that Harvey Wells transmitter, and I'd like to see if I can find some either a power supply or some decent parts to put a power supply together for it someday. My DX60, I'm going to convert that to push to talk. I'll have to get a D10, what is it, 104. One of those lollipop mics, I think, would work real well on that. Anyways, it's interesting. I can't really listen on YouTube because there's such a delay. So I have to really kind of go between listening on YouTube and actually hearing it real time. Carol, I don't know if you can hear me, but every time I go past your old house at Lake Beulah, I miss all those wonderful antennas you had up there. And I'm glad to hear you on the radio, Carol. 7.3s, everyone, W9TOF. I'll be out of the group and back to net control.
All right, thank you, Gary. Well, it's great that you stopped in here. It's been a while. And yeah, you really need an AM receiver. It's a miracle you can hear us at all. I know that sometimes you can, but it's really a gamble whether or not you can hear anything. I like to remind people that almost all of us have AM receivers on 2 meters. Anybody that's got a modern handheld, most of them will receive AM with a little bit of settings changes. I'm thinking except for the older ones I have, all the Yaesus and Alenkos that I have will do it. It's a little bit of, I guess if that's not the radio you're transmitting with, it can be kind of a mess, switching back and forth, but it can be done. I always thought that would be a good way to convince people to get started in AM, but I don't recall anybody ever doing that way. I don't know. We'll see. I do mention it to people often. I'll say 7.3 to you, Gary, and we'll look forward to maybe hearing you in AM next month, hopefully. And next we'll see if Jim is still around, KS9Q from KC9UDX.
Okay, KC9UDX from KS9Q. I am still here, and I'm just getting ready to head home. I am parked over on 59, just a little bit west of Center Road. That seems to be a reasonable compromise. I got you nice and strong. I got Frank, of course. I can just hear Dave. I've heard Gary just a little bit in there, and everybody is sounding good. So I was hoping to fire up the TS700 tonight and give that a little road test, but did not get home in time for music rehearsal. So when I first got on the road, I was on Capitol Drive and headed down, and as I was just starting to pass Waukesha Engine as I logged in. So just wanted to jump in and say hello. I am going to make this my 7.3 so I can head home and see what the family's up to. Back to net. This is KS9Q.
All All right, thank you, Jim. I'll say 7-3 to you, and thanks for popping in here. Your signal and your audio is very good, and of course, considering your location, it should be. And Gary, if you're still listening, I don't know if you heard, Jim said that he could hear you. Of course, he's not too much further from me, but being mobile, I guess that's still pretty good. And with that, next we'll go to Carol and 9CXK from KC9UDX.
KC9UDX and the net at 9CXK. Great. I'm going to try to remember everything I have to answer here now. Gary, yeah, we moved out of that house about a year and a half ago now, and I am on Lake Beulah now. So I don't have quite the real estate I had. I don't have a tower, but I have a lot of antennas up on top of the house. When we remodeled the house, I put in permanent tripods on the roof. They're bolted right through the roof boards into 2x4s on the inside. Nothing's going to make those move. So I have the antennas that I can get up there at reasonable heights, and everything's working really well. I see that you once lived on Beulah here. I was hoping you still did, but I guess not. I think maybe, well, I'm not sure where you were on the lake. That was before me. Well, I mean, I've been out here my whole life, but I probably never knew you then. But yeah, we just basically moved across the road, and I'm on the mill pond here now. Very, very, very happy we did it. So good. And Gary, you're like 15/9. You're the same strength as Matt is here. So from where you seem to live now, that's pretty good. Pretty strong signal. Not bad at all. And let's see, Harvey Wells. I was on QTH, I think, the other day, and Bob Heil is selling a transmitter and a power supply for the Harvey Wells gear, I think, on QTH.com. And it just so happens that I ran into Bob Heil on 10 meters AM over the weekend. He was talking with some other fellas, and I just said hi, and it was Bob, K9EID. So that was pretty exciting, actually. Small excitement for me, but you know, that's the way it goes. But 10 a.m. it's nice. I don't have antique radios, like I said, but I was using my ICOM 575, which is a 6 and 10 meter radio. It's 100 watts, and it's from sometime in the later 80s, I guess. So it's a nice radio. Works very well. And yeah, I spent a couple of days just sitting down and drawing out all the wiring diagrams for these different microphones, and then the wiring diagrams for the plugs on the radios, and I still goofed it up. I think I have an extra wire in this one microphone here that I don't need, and it may be shorting out the audio, because everything else works like a charm. The push-to-talk works on these microphones. Everything seems good, so just gotta go back in and fix it. I just hate microphone plugs. They're so small, and they're getting harder and harder to see. I don't know why that is. Yeah, everybody sounded good, and I could still hear, KS9Q was in there good enough for me to hear the first time anyways. There is a station I can't hear. He was just like a couple guys before me. I don't know who that is, but I'll listen harder. We'll see. I think that's about it for right now. Yep, N9CXK. Over.
All right, thank you, Carol. I'm guessing the station you can't hear would be Dave WB9BWP. And you mentioned that tripod on the roof. I have one similarly installed. It's pretty bomb-proof the way I installed it, and it really did prove to be bomb-proof, almost anyway. Fortunately, no bomb, but I did get hit with a tornado. It's not a ham radio antenna, unfortunately. It's my TV receiving antenna. But I had it was a steel mast, shorter one. It was only like 3 feet long. The mast hardly stuck up out of the tripod, and the tornado twisted that thing like a pretzel. Understandably so, I guess. I replaced that piece of steel with a, I think, 3/16 wall aluminum tube that I think it's at least 6 feet long, maybe 8 feet long. So the tornado gave me an excuse to raise up the antenna, make it even stronger. I suppose if I get hit by a tornado now, it'll probably wreck the legs of the tripod with all the extra leverage, but I'm pretty sure it still won't come out of the roof unless it takes the whole roof with it. Interestingly, when the tornado came, it took out the ridge cap underneath the tripod, but did not budge that tripod in any way. We are at the bottom of the list. Let's see if we have any other check-ins for the 2 a.m. net. Come now, please.
This is November 9, Foxtrot Sierra Echo. Here in beautiful Uberland. Over.
And there we got Steve N9FSE, and I hope I didn't miss you earlier. I think you may have been trying to check in earlier, and I didn't quite catch it. I probably haven't been very patient listening for check-ins tonight. I think I talked over the top of Gary at one point too here. But there's Steve N9FSE. Do we have any more check-ins? Come now, please. All right. Well, that brings us up to 7 like last month. We exchanged KD9WFA for W9TOF this month. Steve N9FSE from KC9UDX, go ahead.
Alright, good to hear everybody out here. I started listening on the way to the site here in the mobile, so people that can copy mobile include you, Matt, Frank, Dave, Carol, I can hear in the mobile. I couldn't hear Jim, and I couldn't hear Gary in the mobile, but everybody else we hear live from the big stick here. So listening a little bit for some of the earlier festivities, but only like one meter round, so it's good to hear everybody out here talk of everything from the propagation on 10 meters to the swap fest, the balloons and all that, so super business. Mentioned my usual stuff about skiing. I was just in and out last month, but we're getting our skiing on late in the season as opposed to many other years. We have bad December and only one day in January, and the area with the natural snow, so we were able to open last weekend, although we left one run undone because there was like a river running at the bottom of it. Pretty unusual conditions, and I'd be shocked if we have a way to run next weekend. But commercial areas, some of them are extending their seasons, especially if they're a little further north. The commercial areas nearby are staying on target for the most part. They're probably going to be one more weekend for many of them, and they'll be over locally. But like I said, north they'll extend their season a little bit. And everybody can listen to that spring next week, and before you know it, it'll be spring peepers and the trees budding out and all that kind of mayhem. So, yeah, I wish I keep the 10 FM on the skater in the kitchen, so every so often that stuff will pop in, and they just started more chats on the 10 FM Facebook group, so that's busy stuff there, nice. And I'd love to hear some AM in there, but I don't have a lot of time to invest in that, unfortunately, when that band's usually open. But if I can get some AM, that'll be a treat to hear. Because AM on any band, especially 2 meters, is very nice, but really enjoy some of the lower frequency frequency is 75 and 40, and then anywhere else you can find it as it happens they have it running. So I have, let's circle back to that, see where things go and what's left in things here, but good to hear Gary out here, and Jim, and then all the regulars. You, Matt, Freak, Dave, Carol, like I say, good to hear everybody out here this evening. This is NIFSE. Over.
All right, thank you, Steve. I guess I've been working too much. I could be skiing. By the time I get a chance to go again, there won't be any snow again. I guess I'll see what the weather is like on Friday and Saturday. One of those 2 days I'm going to be doing a lot of work on my vehicle. I guess I could have mentioned this earlier. I've been wanting to quiet the exhaust on my very obnoxiously loud vehicle for some time, partly because I cannot use amateur radio in there because it's too loud. Another reason is it's just absolutely driving me up a wall. And last week I installed a muffler. I shortened up the pipe going from the manifolds from the Y pipe to the resonator, and put the muffler behind the resonator. But in the process of doing that work, I must have wiggled the pipe going up to the passenger side manifold to the point where the flange on there is completely rotted away. So unfortunately, by trying to make the exhaust quieter, I made it louder. And I did order a new manifold that should be here tomorrow. So maybe I'll install that Friday or Saturday. Or even Thursday, I guess, if I get really, really ambitious, or I should say really, really fed up with all the racket. It really is painful listening to that for an hour each, 2 hours a day. And with that, we'll go back to the top of the list. Frank, W9JCC from KC9UDX.
Okay, KC9UDX, W9JCC. Good evening, Steve. Good to hear you. And Jim, KS9Q was always strong here tonight. When he was by the Waukesha engine, he was about S9. And when he moved from that location, he was 20 over 9, so he must have been pretty close to me. Came through really well. And everybody else was at, weakest station they got here was S7. Everybody else was stronger. There was 3 S7 stations, and Matt 40 over 9, and Steve about 25 over 9. And 10 meters, I completely forgot about 10 meter AM. I've been so excited about getting on 10 meters and working some DX, getting into Japan a couple of times. Actually, I talked to one guy twice on 2 different days. First time, I didn't want to waste any time, so I used the amplifier. The first time I talked to the guy, and then the second time I had him, I called him barefoot, and I was only about an unit less than the previous day, so it worked out okay. The band was really wide open. But I'm definitely going to fire the Ranger up, or at least go through the receiver first. If I hear stuff, I'll get the Ranger fired up on 10 meters, because I can't use it on 40 anymore. Because my antenna for 40 and 80 is all twisted up in a tree, and 40 meters is resonant down below 7.0, so it's just not going to work. Talking about 10 meters, I kind of wish I still had my old, all the pieces of my 10 meter AM mobile rig that I built when I was in high school. I had a 2E26 modulated by a pair of 6 AQ5s in Class B modulation, and I used a Maro 5BR2 converter off the AM radio to receive AM on the HF bands. And I had a 6 volt to 250 volt KC9UDX W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. And I guess that's one of the things I'll be talking about on Saturday if I do bring this radio to the club meeting. It does have a vibrator in it, and it does work. I have used it. I've used this radio portable. It's very obnoxious having that vibrator running, but it does work. I've got several radios that have them. I've used my Drake TR3 portable with a vibrator supply, and of course the other Gonsets that I've got. Everybody, tries to convince me to get a solid state replacement, and I just can't bring myself to do that. Yeah, the buzzing is annoying, but it's part of the experience, I guess. Speaking of which, I think I mentioned it earlier, but I do have the big speaker going tonight. Speaker is a RCA center channel speaker from a early hi-fi stereo. It's the right vintage for this radio, I guess, even though it doesn't really, it's not exactly what you'd expect to have connected to it. And with that, we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP from KC9UDX.
Okay. Now, as far as vintage, the oldest radio that I ever had was my novice rig, which I got used. I had a National receiver, which was the early 60s vintage, and then that Heathkit DX60 transmitter from mid-60s. And that had AM capability, and that was crystal controlled. Never did own anything with vibrator supply in it. And, I knew a number of guys that had the old commercial Motorola's in their cars. That would suck the battery down. They did a lot of transmitting with the engine off. I could hear Jim. I heard the sound on the first round. On the second round there, I could make a mark. Signal was weak, but it was perfectly readable. And I just hadn't looked up to hear about the Waukesha engine ownership things. November 2018. A company called Advent International bought what was called the distributed power business off of GE and changed its name to INIO, I guess is how you pronounce it, INNIO. So that's who they are now. At least there's some operations still here, so that's something. Let's see, what else? Not much here on the notes tonight, and I can usually talk, I can babble for a long time on just about anything, but I don't know, maybe too many contests here. I've just been tapped out by saying, call sign in the state or something like that. Anyway, and of course Steve is burrowing in here. So I can hear everybody tonight, which is always good. So I'll send it back to next. This is WB9BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. And I guess I should have been saying this all along, but you are a 6 out of 10. Frank is pegging the needle as always. Gary was a 5.5. Jim was like a 6, but I didn't bother to write that down because he's mobile and it doesn't really mean anything. And I did not, Carol, for some reason, I did not look at the meter while you're talking, so I'll get that the next time around. And now I derailed my train of thought. I was going to comment on something you said. Dave, and I do not recall what it was anymore. Oh well, I'll think of it later when it is inconvenient to talk, and then I'll forget when it's my turn to talk again. So next we'll go to Carol N9CXK from KC9UDX.
9UDX and the net and 9CXK. Okay, very good. No, Dave's not the guy I can't hear. Dave is like S9 here. Everybody's doing really good signals here. I guess your meters aren't the same as mine. I think this meter's very generous on the diazo here. Everybody's doing really good. So, I can't worry about that. Everybody sounds real nice. They're easy to understand. I like it. So, that's good. I don't know, maybe it was Jim in the mobile that I just wasn't quite hearing. I thought you turned it over to somebody somewhere along the line and I couldn't hear him at all. But that's not very important either. So, yeah, with the stuff bolted through the roof, I was still apprehensive hearing that wind. My radio room is right under one of the tripods here, and when it blows, man, you can hear it. You can hear every antenna piece moving up there, right down here in the house, because it just transfers right through the frame of the house. So I have a little tin fish with a thermometer in it that hangs on my window, and when I have those brisk winds out of the east here, the little guy vibrates on the window, so I know that it's windy out there. I don't have a lot else to talk about either. We'll be at the Hamfest on Sunday in Jefferson. That is coming close to getting to be my favorite Hamfest, although Oak Creek still wins out. But since Waukesha is gone, boy, Jefferson is getting better and better. They said they're going to have 100 tables set up this time. That's going to be a lot. I have a couple of tables, and my other friends, I think, have about 4 or 5 tables together. So we've got that whole, I think it's most of the south wall that we're going to be sitting at back there. So I will wear my call sign button. I think it's right in my car. So maybe I can actually meet some of you guys. I always want to, and I'm always so busy selling that, I just don't have time to meet people. I think we can remedy that. And, Matt, you just kind of get to those Turner microphones. I mean, I watched a lot of videos on the internet about Turner microphones and fixing them up. And these guys, they want to replace every capacitor in there and this and that. And they usually work for a long time. You're not talking high voltage or anything. You're not breaking down the capacitors unless they're just getting really old. So you should be able to get those going, and you should be able to find enough spare parts around that you could put a new amplifier in that one if you really wanted to. The one that I have here is a Turner Plus 3B. That's supposed to be one of the best. It has the amplifier and compression in it. And then they made the Super Sidekick after that, which was kind of the same style, but they didn't include the compression, so it was just a blaster, but without the compression, it didn't really increase the intelligibility that much. So this other one I bought, it's an Expander 500. You would have to look that up. It's a great big microphone. It's got a VU meter in it. It's got volume and tone controls on it. It's a big thing. But it's supposed to be one of the best. It does have good compression also, so I waited around and found them at decent prices, and I thought I'd try them on the single sideband radios to see how they work. So, it would be nice if Gary could get an AM radio to talk to us. There's a lot of radios that do that. But I'm very interested because I have an IC820 here. And then does 2 meters at 440, but doesn't do AM. Doesn't do AM at all. I just think that's kind of a glaring error. But I'm with Steve. I love listening to AM. 10 meters AM. You have to listen a lot, and then you'll hear people on there all of a sudden. 10 meters AM, I don't know. And then 6 meters AM too. That's even fewer and farther between, but all you've got is basically 50.4 that you want to listen for. So I'm gonna get everything geared up for that stuff, and hopefully some of these microphones I have will sound good on AM too. So I guess maybe this is kind of like the 73 rounds. Kind of sounds that way. And Matt, you might mention where you are. I see the street that you're on, but I don't know if you're like south of the bypass there, or north of it, or out of town, or whatever. I'm just kind of curious. I have a friend who lives in that subdivision just south of the bypass and to the west of the road there. N9CXK, over.
All right, thank you, Carol. I am 500 feet north of Lonsdale Road, so I guess I'm not sure exactly how far south of the bypass I am. I never really thought about it for some reason. Maybe between a half mile and a mile. Well, you made me get up and go look at the microphones I have. One of them I can't see. One of them is a Turner +3. One of them is a Super Sidekick. I think it's the Super Sidekick that has the wrecked IC. And if I recall, I think I wired it up so that it doesn't, or maybe it's the +3. I've had a whole pile of those microphones over the years, and one of them somebody had screwed a D104 microphone onto one, and I, for some reason, took it off of one and put it onto the one with the bad IC. So it must be the +3 that has the bad IC. I don't know. It's been so long since I messed with those things I don't even recall anymore, but I guess I didn't realize I still had the one with the D104 on it. I could probably make use of that the way it is, assuming it doesn't have amplification, which it shouldn't. I wasn't going to call it the 7-3 round. I think we'll do a 7-3 round next, though. I'm running out of steam. I've been working too much overtime, as always. But next we'll go to Steve N9FSE from KC9UDX.
meters I have, 6 meters every so often somebody's checking out their 6 meter stuff in Milwaukee, so I have that plugged in the scanner and it stops an arrow, every couple of months or so. And then here, and then sooner or later I'll have to make a schedule for 440 or something, see if we can do some 70 centimeter AM. 220 would be neat, but I think that would require a transverter of some sort. So always a blast, and that's what I have on this round. So back up to net on this. This is Steve, and then my FSE. Back to you, Matt. Over.
All right, thank you, Steve. I have worked AM on, I think, 40, 20, 10, 6, 2, I think that's it. I'd have to look, maybe 15, maybe even 80, I don't even know. I'd have to go look. I don't have AM capability on 160. And I always wanted to do AM on 220. And I just don't have a way to do that. Oddly, I have done FM on 6 and 2 meters with these GON sets. I can do that. I have it in the log somewhere. I talked to John KB9SXH on the Mighty 513 repeater with a GON set communicator too. That I wish I had made a video of that for YouTube. That was quite an experience. And with that, we are at the bottom of the list, and I am really running out of steam here. So we'll go to the top of the list, and I'll say go ahead and talk as long as you want, but we'll call this the 7-3 round. So Frank, W9JCC, it's your turn on the 7-3 round.
Okay, thank you, Matt. And as far as Turner mics go, I had a Turner 80, I believe. It was a slick little microphone that didn't have much output. As soon as I got to D104, I pedaled the Turner 80. First of mine had a JT30, and that seemed to work okay, but I never had one. And we're bringing up the pine cone. That kind of makes it a little more appealing to go out to the hand rest, because it's a nice place to have early breakfast over there, or early brunch, I guess. 40 meter AM, 7295, and I forget what UTC time is. It's noon, and it switches between 11 and noon, but it doesn't switch with the time change. So it's either 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock on 7295. So don't have much more. Good hearing everybody. Good turnout on Matt, and thanks for running on that. 73s to everybody. Good hearing everybody. Back to that, W9JCC.
All right, thank you, Frank. I'll say 7-3 to you. And I don't know why I always think of this, but I've been to the Pine Cone countless times, I think. The one time that sticks out for me, I don't know why. I rode with my dad out to Madison one time. It was spring of 1994, and we were in my mother's car, which had a bad thermostat. It was a very cold drive. Every once in a while that thermostat would shut, and so we would turn the heater on full blast, and then it would all of a sudden open up again and it would get very cold. But I don't remember why. We stopped at the Pine Cone at the start of that trip, or in the middle of it, I guess, and for some reason that's what I always think of when I think of the Pine Cone. I really don't know why. And next we'll go to Dave, WB9BWP. It's your turn on the 7-3 round.
Okay, well, 73 to everyone that's here this evening. anytime there's more than 2, I guess, it's always a good turnout, 2 or 3. I don't remember the last time I was at Pine Cone. I think it was heading out to a Madison Hamfest some years ago. That's about as close as I can get to that one. And never had any Turner microphones. Always knew about them, always saw them, but I never had any. So can't even comment on any of those. So, 73 to everyone out there. Besides Jefferson on Sunday, don't forget this Saturday MRAC meeting, next Saturday MRAC Hamfest, and MSOE balloon launch, hopefully. The question was asked last night, well, what about bad weather? Nobody had an answer to that, so I think they have to figure out a weather contingency. Anyway, 73 to all. With that, this is WP9BWP.
All right, thank you, Dave. I'll say 7-3 to you. And probably see you on Saturday, hopefully. And with that, next we'll go to Carol, N9CXK. It's your turn on the 7-3 round from KC9UDX.
Alright, now I got it. This is the 73 round. N9CXK. Real good. Yeah, I will say that I was on CB at the beginning of my radio career, or part of it anyways, and everybody had Turner microphones. And then you had the guys that had the D104s, usually on their Brownings and their Tram radios. So they were all very interesting to me. I never was able to afford any of that stuff, but now I can pick it all up here and there. And I did have a D104 here for quite a while, but I didn't have any radios that would work with the crystal high impedance element in there, so I took the D104 and I put an electret condenser microphone in there and I wired it up. I put a new cord on it and I put a plug on it for ICOMs. And I used it on all my different ICOM radios I had for quite a while. And it's still in my closet here. I can't make myself sell it because I know I'll want it for a radio as soon as I sell it. So I'm going to hang on to that. And I was fortunate enough to, in the last couple of years here, pick up an ICOM SM8 microphone. That's a nice desk microphone, and it has a switch in it, an A and B switch, and you can have 2 cables on it, and you can have it plugged into 2 ICOM radios at the same time. And so now I have that on my desk, and I use it every day between the IC820 and the IC575. Works like a charm. Nice microphone too. So I'm kind of learning about all these things now. But yeah, the D104 is still you can't hardly get one for less than $75, $80, and a lot of them, those fancy ones they made, the gold ones and the chrome ones and the black ones, all of those are, they all command a pretty good price, more than they're worth, but if you want them sitting on your shelf, that's what you have to do. And let's see here. I don't know. Yeah, I think I know just about where you are, Matt. I travel up and down that road quite often when I'm going to Waukesha. I have a substation right in Waukesha, just north of the bypass there. If I go up Oakdale, so yeah, I'll keep my eyes peeled. And that's W9REL lives in that subdivision just off the bypass there. That's Skip. So what else were we talking about here? I don't think too much else, but I will be very relieved when that the antennas get unwound out of the trees over there at Frank's house, because it sounds like he's got lots of wire there, but it's not doing the right thing for him. So I'll be happy when he gets that straightened out. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Looks like it'll be interesting weather-wise at the end here, but, oh yeah, spring is coming. I mean, I'm a winter guy. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about, the pine cone. The pine cone, you should have seen, I don't know if you guys remember the pine cone back in the middle to late 70s. We, my father and myself and my brother were all on the ski patrol up in the Dells. And so we drove up to the Dells every weekend and did 2 shifts up there. And every time when we came home, we'd stop at the pine cone and eat. And we'd always get the sweet roll that's the size of your head with a half a pound of butter on it. That was the thing. But the pine cone at that time was kind of like a little cabin, like a little shack there in the parking lot of that gas station. It was the littlest thing, but it was really fun at that time. Now it's kind of a fancy truck stop family kind of restaurant. But that was in the middle to late 70s, and I don't think it could have been there long before that, before we started going there. So that's a bit of history, but the pine cone is a bit of history. That's for sure. Yeah, everybody take care. Have a good week. And Matt, thanks for running the nest. Appreciate it a lot. KC9UDX and everybody else, and 9CXK. See you later.
All right, thank you, Carol. I'll say 7-3 to you. I do remember going to the pine cone when it was a tiny little building like that. Probably not in the mid to late 70s. I don't remember a whole lot of that anymore. What I do remember from that time is just memories of memories anymore, so it doesn't count. But maybe in the 80s, although I don't really remember any of that stuff anymore either. And with that, we'll go to Steve, N9FSE. It's your turn on the 7-3 round. Oh, before I give it to you, Steve, somebody was talking about Gary and being in AM, and I can almost promise Gary will be in AM next month. We will see. We're working on that. Very, very hopeful about that. Now I'll turn it over to you, Steve, N9FSE from KC9UDX.
Super business. I gotta write these things down. Or that balloon launch coincides with the first day of spring or something. I didn't write down the date of the balloon launch, so I gotta figure that out yet too. Like following that stuff along ever since we helped Joe on 9UX with some of that, and MREC with some of the high altitude balloon projects they were working over for a while, multiple years ago. And the pine cone was the Jefferson, Johnson, what do they call it, Johnson's Creek? Out there in Jefferson. But there's also one, which feels smaller, but I haven't been there in a long time, out in Sun Prairie there too, which is also pine cone. But yeah, you can't beat the big stuff. Too bad I don't eat all that bread anymore. But it was quite they still got quite the big elephant ears, the cream puffs, the big rolls that come with dinner, and I figure that's how they make a name for themselves as they keep that bakery running to drag people in, I suppose. So good stuff. So it's funny how stuff on the internet finds you, listens in and whatnot, but out at the scale we got engine, and I tell people that they don't use that for some grit and for some traction on the driveway, but there's just about an article on 45 practical uses for ash. Most of it's adjusting your pH in a garden or compost or something, but even these little tips that are giving you such as keeps the pests away, so they could chase mice out. And speaking of mice, I didn't find any of the traps here at the site, so I'll have a happy report for all that, so won't be well season soon enough. I probably want to stay outside instead of coming in, but it's been quiet at the site here, so that's good. And I guess that's all I have for topics, unless I get that balloon launch date for MSOE again, so that's pretty neat there, going after that stuff again, and nothing like a good floor and following along with people like W5KUB and Bill Brown and all them. Hopefully we nicely, and then a month later there's Stoughton, but hopefully I don't have a meeting conflict with that. I gotta get my calendar set up for springtime here and make sure I don't double book myself if that's at all possible. Good to hear everybody out here once again, and look forward to hearing Gary on AM next month, and everybody's input is great out here on this net. Good to hear everybody. But that was turn it back up to the control from out here at the site. This is NISSE. Over.
All right, thank you, Steve. I'll say 7-3 to you, and I'll just comment on one thing you said. I am a very big proponent of using ash instead of salt in the snow and in the ice. Where salt causes steel to rust, ash can actually cause rust to turn back into iron, and if nothing else, it generally does not cause rust. Although it's probably not very good for aluminum trailers and aluminum pickup trucks. Or I guess if anybody's got one, an aluminum Range Rover. Anyway, I will say that this concludes the 2 a.m. net, and it couldn't come at a better time here because I'm literally falling asleep. Feel free to rag true on this frequency after my transmission. We will meet again on the 11th of April. Until then, this is KC9UDX 73, and good night.
Matt, did you ever get a look at all those Clegg radios and things that were on eBay? I haven't looked lately, but I'm sure a bunch of them are still there.
No, I did not. It's in my notes from last month. I have recently bought a whole bunch of little things on eBay, and never occurred to me to look for that. I guess I don't come down here and read my notes. And when I go upstairs, I forget everything that happens down here. Back to you, Carol, KC9UDX.
Oh, sure. Well, that sounds pretty familiar. Yeah, in one ear and out the other, pretty much. If I don't make copious notes at work, I don't know what anybody's doing on a given day. So I really have to keep a good log. But yeah, just get on eBay, search for 2-meter radios, or search for Clegg radios, and it was really interesting. I didn't know they made all those different 2-meter AM and FM radios. So it was just interesting, and I thought you might be especially interested. So give it a shot. Thanks again for running the net. I really enjoyed this one as well as any other. Talk to you soon. N9CXK 73.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. And yeah, Clegg did make a lot of 2-meter stuff. They also, if I recall, made a lot of 6-meter stuff, probably even more 6-meter than 2-meter, but I guess I'll look it up if I remember tomorrow. 7-3, Carol. KC9UDX.